Hi everybody, it's Hope from hopeyoder.com, and this is a Craft and Cut Fundamental Video 12 where we're going to convert lines and shapes to stitches. We're going to create stitches manually using the Run tool, the Applique tool, the Rhinestone line tool, and the Rhinestone fill tool. And then we'll change the stitch properties, or the properties of the Run, the Applique, the Rhinestone line, and the Rhinestone fill. So let's go ahead and get started. In previous videos, we've shown you how you can take a shape and use the convert to functions, but over on this side are the manual functions. So and they all work the same, so this will be very familiar. If you can do one, you can do all. So let's start with the Applique manual tool. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to just left click wherever I want to create an applique, as pretty or as ugly as I want it. I'm going to right click and to create the applique. So because I had pre-selected the applique, then this is going to give me an applique tool. So this is manually setting where you want your points. So I can put the grid on. And also, let me show you with the grid, I can use snap to grid. And so let's just change that. Now let's come in here and we'll do our run stitch. And this would be an embroidery run stitch. So everywhere I click, I'm creating a point that I'm going to create a run stitch. When I'm done, I'm going to right click. And you can see this has turned this into a run stitch. Let me change this to a different color. We'll do a different color for each one. I'll right click to collapse all. Now let's come into our rhinestone. We'll do the rhinestone line. And again, I'm going to click everywhere that I want my rhinestones to fill a path. And then when I'm done, I'll right click. And then that's going to turn this into a line of rhinestone. And the last one, let's scroll over so we have a little more area. This is going to fill a closed shape. So we'll just create this a little different. And I'm using snap to grid. I will right click. And I have got my filled design. So in here, we'll change this to a pink color. Actually, let's change that to something darker so that you can see it better. So let's change this to a dark green, if you will. So let me click here, get rid of the screen. So I've just manually created all of these things instead of using a shape, if you will, and using the convert to applique. So that gives me a little more consistent stitch, but you can do it manually by using these functions or convert to using those functions. So let me undo this. So here's all my very lovely manual things that I've created. So once you've created these, then you're able to change the properties type of them. So if I select on the applique, the properties window opens up. And from here, I can change it to a blanket stitch and apply, or I could change this to a motif, and there's over 400 motif stitches at your disposal, so you can select whatever you want. Same thing, this was the run stitch. So when I select it in my properties window, I can change this to a bean stitch, which is a red work design, and that will give me red work. When I am in the line rhinestones, I can change the size of my stone into something bigger, and I can change the spacing even bigger. Same thing here. I have my properties window for my filled rhinestone, and I have different options for cascade. Oh, that creates something kind of cool, doesn't it? So you've got all these different functions. So those were the manual functions. Let's come into the convert to, and these are just a little bit easier without manually punching. So let me select a shape from the Hope Yoder library. And let's come in and do this banner, and let's make our flag, and let's make him a little bit easier to work with. Whoops. And we'll do this at 4 inches so we can have a nice big, whoops, that's a little big, bigger than our mat. So let's just say 10 inches. Let me double click on the magnifying glass. Now, this is a shape that I didn't draw. I didn't do it manually. I used the Hope Yoder library, the custom shapes, or you can use the shape tools. So with this, I can automatically, with a one-click wonder, convert to a very unattractive applique design. Let's come back in here. All right. So with this, I can convert to an applique. Let's try that again and see what's going on here. A little glitch. Well, let's undo that. Let's come back and let's select a different shape. So let's come into our custom shapes and let's just do this cute little bird. And in inches, 4 by 3, that sounds good. He'll fit in my 4 by 4 embroidery hoop. I can select convert to applique, and just like I showed you in the manual stitches, in your properties you can change all of these different values that you want. The stitch width, the blanket width, how far apart you want the stitches to be. For instance, if I change that to 7, then I've got a more larger space between each item. So that was convert to applique. You have convert to rhinestones. And again, I can change the properties if I want. I have convert to rhinestone fill. And with this, I have different properties that I can change. Ooh, that looks nice. So you've got all these different options, so you can use the convert to, or you can manually punch or manually select each point of where you want your shape. So this is fundamental video 12 and working with shapes to convert to or manually.